Hey guys, welcome back to lesson 9 of the Growing in Trust Mentorship course. Today is a very important lesson. This is talking about values versus beliefs. And I want to explain this in a way that you explain those terms in a way that you may not be familiar with. This is a very important lesson because, again, it gives you the perspective that you need to have when you are making connections with people and deciding whether or not they should be a part of your inner circle, or maybe they're just an acquaintance, where they go in terms of the relationships that you're forming. So first of all, beliefs are all of our past. In this term, that the context that I'm using it, beliefs are all of the past experiences that we've had. And if I've continuously had bad relationships, if I've continuously been abused or victimized by men, then my beliefs about men are probably going to be skewed. And conversely, values say, I am looking at where I am going, and I'm basing my decisions off of where I am going. I am taking into account my past experiences, but they are not shaping. They are not I'm not primarily using them to shape my decisions. I'm not using my decision-making capabilities based solely off of what has happened to me in the past. And at first, I can feel, even some of you are starting to put up walls to even hearing that statement. But let me tell you and explain to you about why values are a better way to base your decisions off of than your beliefs. First of all, our beliefs can be skewed. If you relive something, if I have something happen to me, let's say I'm in a car accident, it's a traumatic experience for me, and I'm recounting that. My brain is actually sending chemicals into my body that tell my body I'm going through that same experience again and again and again and again. You see how objectively, I may know that, it's far safer to ride in a car than whatever, there's a very negligible chance that I'm going to get into a car accident again if I get back in the car, but my beliefs are telling me this is a very, very dangerous thing. I don't want to get back in the car. And so when I solely base it off of my belief system, and especially because I've allowed my body to become rewired due to the chemicals and due to the hormones that my brain is pumping into my body, also my brain has rewired itself now to think about cars in a negative light. So I'm not able to have an objective perspective on it when I base it solely off of my beliefs. When I look at it from a value standpoint, so when I know where I'm going, I know what season I'm in again, and I say, like, well, I'm going to need a car because I have, let's say 40 appointments this week that I'm going to need to get into a car to meet these appointments. If I meet these appointments, this is going to help me build my clientele base, and if I build my clientele base in 10 years, this is going to add to my overall goal or destiny purpose in life this way. And so when I start to look at it that way, it's like, okay, I got to put this into perspective. I'm going to have to get back in a car, right? And when you understand how to apply your values, what you value most, into how you establish your boundaries, how you establish your friendships, your relationships of all kinds in your life, it's going to make a huge, huge difference. Versus if you just make your decisions based off of your own beliefs, your own experiences. Yes, those are very important things. They should shape the way that you make decisions. So, for example, in the same situation, if I know that that car that I was in, maybe I was driving some fast, maybe it was a Mustang and it didn't have its top on. How fun would that be? But let's say it was that car. It's like, okay, you know what? That probably isn't the safest car for me to be in. I'm going to find a different car that's much safer. And so I use my experiences to influence my decisions. But I don't base my entire decision-making process off of what has been my own personal experience in the past. And when I do that, I'm much more able, first of all, to get over things more quickly and to not allow them to kind of stick to me and hang on to me But also I'm able to make sure that I stay on track to completing my destiny, to completing my purpose, and I'm not getting sidetracked when life happens to me. I can't control the whole world. That's not what life is about. I'm going to respond to the things that happen to me appropriately. It's going to shape me. It's going to continue to add to my life, right? I'm going to become more resilient as I face these things and walk through them successfully. So I talk about that. I also talk about how this impacts the longevity of your relationships and being able to look at the value of your relationships objectively as opposed to just looking at it from your beliefs perspective, because sometimes we can get into these cycles where all we can see are the negative things. Well, this person did this, and I remember 10 years ago they did this, and then they said this thing about me that they never apologized for, and you can start getting into this pattern where if you've been in a relationship with this person for a while, you've known them for a while, you start to be able to recall all of these very small negative events, and you're not having the ability to look at it from the larger picture and seeing it from a value standpoint versus a belief standpoint. That being said, it may still be, when I look at it objectively through the values, it might just be like, no, this is not a healthy relationship. This is not adding to me, to my life, to where I want to go. It doesn't serve me, and I need to end that relationship. That still might be the case, but at least I know I've done it the correct way. I've taken a look at it objectively. I'm not reacting out of my anger or my hurt towards that person. I'm taking a look about where I'm going. I'm taking a look at where my destiny is headed, and I'm making decisions from a value-based perspective as opposed to a reactive belief system. So I hope this kind of gives you an overview for what values and beliefs are, how these impact your decisions, how these impact your relationships, and ultimately how they help you get into the perfect will so that you will hit your destiny straight in the bullseye. You won't miss it at all. Be sure to do the exercises and reflections at the end of this chapter, and I will see you for next lesson.